look at this American economy, not only in terms of how it works against us and discriminates against us, but how can we move into it? How should we invest into it? How should we get so wrapped up inside of it until they cannot separate it without destroying themselves in the process and such? One of the reasons why the South African, the white South African, can have the kind of impact they have in South Africa is their connection with African people. What if we then increased our connection and our bond with the continental Africa? What if we made and increased our connection with the Caribbean African, with the South American African? Then it is quite possible if those bonds were strengthened and economic relations were strengthened, we as a so-called minority in the United States could have a major impact in the economic development and direction of this country. But we must have vision and we must have imagination. And we must not only think in terms of escape, but think in terms of conquering and taking and moving forward. And so we must, I'm calling for a conference of some kind among nationalists and other Africans to look at investment policy in terms of the United States and the American economy. We must recognize and we must get our African brothers to understand, the African brothers from the continent, that their support of Africans in America is vital to their own economic and political advancement. And we got a bunch of African diplomats and others who come over here and spend millions, if not billions, in the New York City economy without spending it with their African brothers. That has got to end, and it's a stupid policy. I have a business and office supply. I cannot go and even pick up a pencil that says made in Africa. I can pick up one that says made in Taiwan. I can pick up one that says made in China. I can pick gym clips up made in Taiwan. I can pick all kinds of plastic objects made in this country and that country, but I have yet to find one that says, well, made in Africa, made in Nigeria. If we will recall, the Japanese economy developed from the making of these kind of small items. Little plastic objects and this and that. It's important, though, that a nation can start at this level because what it does is organize the workforce and it rationalizes the economic system. And so making the pencils and the gym clips and all of these items which on the surface may not appear to be important, but when you look at how they organize and discipline the workforce and organize an economic system, they are of tremendous importance because you move from there to assembling TV sets and to assembling other things to manufacture, and you set then the country on the road to technological advancement and independence. But in order for a country to achieve these kind of goals, it must have a market where which it can sell its products. And products are not sold merely because you make them. Those products must be distributed and markets must be made available for those products. Now, we as African Americans, the largest minority in this country, should be politically strong enough and active enough so that we can open the American market to African-made products. And consequently, we open the American market to African-made products, we then enhance the technological growth of Africa as a continent and African nations as a whole. But if you're not in the Congresses, and if you're not electing your people, and if you're not building the committees so that when this nation makes decisions as to who is a so-called friendly nation that gives certain trade advantages and so forth, you'll find a situation where though we are the largest minority in the nation, those people who have the smallest minorities, the market of the nation is thrown wide open to them. And therefore it is in the interest of Africans to support the economic and support the political empowerment of African Americans in this country because it opens up this country for their own economic growth and development. And it opens up then a network between Africans and Americans, Africans on the continent, that will have the most powerful impact this country has ever seen and the most powerful impact that this world has ever seen. But you got to talk about it, you got to study it, you got to work at it to see what it's about. And I don't see it discussed enough.